It's been a while since I last posted here. I want to talk about the elections. Now, some of us must have been feeling that nothing would change, that the people have given up, that it would be meaningless even if we tried. I found an interesting article on the internet and wanted to make an emergency video about it, but I wasn't fast enough to do so. This news was distributed at 7:03 p.m. on May 12th. Let's all think about it. Are you voting or not, and why? If the impact of your vote is almost zero, then the loss of voting itself is greater than the cost of the time it takes for you to go to the polls and think about the candidate's policies. In other words, I have the impression that many people see it as a matter of efficiency or something like that nature. If one acts only the basis of gain or loss, then abstaining from voting makes sense, which results in low voting rates overall. And this leads to the next question. What happens if people do not go to the elections? The Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications announced the age of those who vote in the past national elections. For example, looking at the voter turnout by age group in last July's upper house election, the highest turnout was 65.69% for voters in their 60s, while the lowest was 33.99% for voters in their 20s. That is nearly double the gap. Because of this, policymakers favor the elderly and ignore the youth. The professor at Tohoku University estimated that a 1% drop in the voting rate of the younger generation will cost approximately 32,000 yen worth of new government bonds per person, increasing the burden on the younger generation. Furthermore, the difference between the allocation to the elderly generation, such as pensions, and the allocation to the young generation, such as child allowances, would also increase. It is estimated that they will lose approximately 78,000 yen per year. We would like to create an opportunity to think more deeply about the news and to be exposed to diverse ideas through the opinions and experiences of everyone in the comment section. After excerpting and editing the comments we have received, we plan to post them on a separate page as content that will show the flow of the discussion at a later date. Let's look forward to this. I will keep checking the site. Let's actually look at the comments. We use AI to display diverse opinions for everyone. I have 3 children who have just turned 18. The older 2 are not interested and, like the article, are not voting because of the loss of hassle. But the youngest one has done so twice in a row, and I was happy to see that. Certainly the same rate as 33% of the younger generation. I forced them to go at first, even though 18-year-olds are adults by law. They have no right to complain if they didn't go to the polls. But after voting in a slightly more solemn polling place, my youngest one feels something and wants to vote again next time. Hope that they will be able to feel the significance of the act of voting, not just the immediate gain or loss or payback. I've helped with elections before. An overwhelming majority of people who respond well to individual visits express all the voters. Younger voters, on the other hand, respond in less numbers. Is this the reflection in voter turnout by age group? If voting is made mandatory, turnout will automatically increase, but even if you only try to increase turnout, the amount of information voters have about candidates is limited, and it is difficult to know which candidate to choose. Even if a candidate has been elected and is working hard for the voters, it is difficult to get the word out. In contrast, there are some council members who have been elected for many terms, even though they have not done much work. So there is a sense of unfairness. I think it is necessary to create an environment where voters can easily find out what kind of work each council member has done and what achievements have been made. When I was in school, I learned about the history of elections and the election system. My teacher back then repeatedly told us that the current universal suffrage was an important right that our predecessors had won through their efforts, and that I must exercise it as an adult. I have always gone to the polls for the past 20 years. Although this may be an idealistic statement, depending on how you look at it. If we are serious about increasing the voter turnout among young people, I think it is necessary to teach the meaning and background of democracy and elections. In this year's local election held in Setagaya Ward, which has more than 700,000 voters, the last ward council member was decided by a single vote. I believe this rare happening made both voters and candidates really aware of the importance of a single vote. If 1 or 2 voters had changed their minds, the outcome of the election would have been different. I don't think that happens very often, but a vote definitely counts.